Hey guys, what is up? It is me, Pagey, here once again with another video on The Flash Season 5, and this is going to be my review for episode 18 for this season, otherwise entitled Godspeed. It's finally here, we're back from this break. Obviously, spoiler alert if you have not watched the episode, because, man, some big stuff happens in this episode, so go watch it and then come back. Obviously, if you're going to enjoy the video, be sure to drop a like on it, especially if this episode just got you going like, holy crap, what's going on? Yeah, drop a like and let me know all of your opinions on this episode in the comment section down below. So the main thing to take away from last episode, Nora exposed. Sherlock basically dropped that 7-8 minute diss track on her at the end of the episode. Barry's chucked her in the cell and he's not happy at all. And that's basically where we pick up this episode, straight away from. So yeah, we start the episode by actually just seeing Nora in that cell in timeout. And we actually have Barry and Iris debating. Obviously, as we knew going into this episode, you could tell from the trailer, Iris was going to be on the sort of the like the benefit of the doubt side, if you want to call it, for Nora, and Barry was on the like, what the hell, she's been lying to us for this long, for almost a year, I guess. So why should we trust her at this stage? And I guess the weirdest thing was that like it just turns into everyone mad at Sherlock. I was like, that's one way to just randomly twist it 180 and just turn it on Sherlock, even though it's Nora's been the one lying. I can understand there being like, why didn't you tell us? But the fact that he was like, everyone was like giving him shady eyes, was like, really? I think that was basically an excuse to not have Sherlock in a lot of the scenes so he could do the earbud Thorn stuff. So Tom Cavanagh wasn't so busy like putting a wig on all the time. So I'm guessing that's why they were mad at Sherlock. It was just a simple, production thing rather than actually making too much sense in the script. So yeah. But essentially this episode is like, is there any type of movie where they jump into, it's like Harry Potter, when he has like the Voldemort, shouldn't have said that name, but Tom Riddle's diary, and he basically gets sucked into it by writing stuff. This is like that, but not the same anyway. So we're jumping into Nora's Notebook, and we go to 2049, which we've basically been traveling to the entire season with the adult Nora. But essentially this opening scene with Nora is basically the scene from the pilot with Barry being a CSI, being late to the thing. There's a lot of references to Barry, a lot of the pilot as well, basically the pilot episode of The Flash with Barry. So Nora being a CSI, certain things in the actual CSI lab and stuff like that, and Nora's actions as a speedster. So there's a lot of different references back to the pilot episode when Barry first got his powers, which I think we thought would come, but it was still like a nice little surprise. But essentially Nora's first case is that some chemicals have been stolen, and I think straight away she suspects that it's a speedster just because of there being like no evidence and stuff like that. And then we actually do find out it's a speedster thanks to some security footage. And throughout all this, we do meet Leah Nelson. Leah Nelson is like a bit of an Easter egg because that character is actually a speedster in the comics, so it makes sense you tie her into the Flash show because she is a version of the Flash on a different Earth in the multiverse. But yeah, if you've been watching my videos, we knew she was going to be in the episode. I was actually the person that revealed that this character was going to be in this epised, and we all knew what was going to happen to her. But she was actually in this episode a decent amount. I was actually sort of surprised. And a bit of an Easter egg, well, not an Easter egg, but I think on a side note, I think this actress might be in the Batwoman pilot as a character. I'm not too sure, but I'll have to wait and see. I know she was hanging around with the Batwoman cast when they were filming their pilot, so I have to wait and see, I guess. Now, there is some past speedsters mentioned. They mentioned like Jesse Quick, Jay Garrick, Kid Flash, obviously the Flash. They mentioned a speedster showing up in Crisis. Let me know your opinions on what that could be. I'm not too sure if that's meant to be Reverse Flash, or maybe like someone else, or maybe like a surprise speedster that's coming in from another Earth because it's, Crisis on Infinite Earths. Big multiverse battle, so it could be a surprise speedster from another Earth. Who knows? Maybe the Earth 90 Flash? Could be him. Maybe it could be him. I don't know. They also mentioned a purple speedster. I did see people getting that confused with that being Nora or it being a new speedster that's coming in. They even say that that purple speedster that randomly showed up one day, that purple speedster was Iris. So that's that purple speedster that they were referencing. Saw so many people confused that they didn't realize that they were actually just referencing the Iris speedster in that part of the episode. But yeah, we do see that Nora has like the big board and stuff, almost like how Barry obsessed over his mother's murder. Nora's obsessing over the case that her father couldn't solve, which is obviously the Who is Cicada case and that big mystery. So once again, another like season 1 or pilot throwback for the Flash. But this is where we finally see Godspeed. Godspeed appears in a laboratory. I think it's like Oval or something like that. Whatever, who cares what it was called? Something laboratory. and he's there to basically get some chemicals and stuff like that, or get some stuff like that. But he actually zaps Nora with it was like 5 billion or 5 trillion kilojoules or something like that. Something ridiculous. Kilojoules? Is that joules? Electro joules? Lightning joules? Whatever it was. Which would, should kill someone. But for Nora, it doesn't kill her. It just basically, they try to give it off that it gives her speed, but it doesn't give her speed. It just destroys the chip that's within her. But yeah, Nora is now a speedster. Now, we did see Nora have that massive fail when she first started running around, and she tries to stop a crime and stuff like that, and she failed. And the thing is, I did see once again some people saying, "Oh, Barry wouldn't have done that. Nora sucks." I'm like, well, Barry had Eobard Thawne, or Eobard Thawne disguised as Wells, mentoring him and guiding him and tracking everything for him like that. Nora had no one. Nora had Leah, who was basically like, "Oh my god, you're a speedster." That's about it. No experience with this, so that's why Nora failed. But of course, because Nora doesn't have a mentor, she's going to have to go find one. A mentor's not going to come to her. She has to go find one. So we're going off to Iron Heights, where she eventually and finally meets Reverse Flash for the first time. We do find out that Nora is only the second person to visit him, and I think it was 15 years. So I wonder who that other person was. Was it Iris? I don't know. We might find out that in future episodes, because it wouldn't have been Barry, so maybe it's another speedster, maybe another evil speedster, maybe Godspeed. I don't know. I don't think they mentioned who the other person was, but yeah, let me know who you think it could be. But yeah, Eobard and Nora's initial chat was pretty chilling. I do like the thing where he just basically slowly brought her over with the hand and stuff like that. I thought it was pretty funny. But he knew straight away that she was a speed. So just like him, he was basically looking in her in the eyes and could just tell that she was a speedster due to the fact that she had new shoes, but the soles were worn. She had windburn on her cheeks, and certain things like that. He could just tell that she was a speedster like that, which I thought was pretty interesting. But the other interesting thing is that he's basically getting tortured in his cell, which is pretty lethal, and we find out basically why they're probably doing this later on in the episode. But of course, Leah is actually the one that finds out the whole thing with Nora, what that thing was, that chip thing that came out of her is actually a power dampener. So she was actually born with the powers, and this chip was embedded 25 years ago, which is 2024, which is when the original Crisis event happened. So yeah, so Nora is not very happy. But speaking of Nora, I don't know what I have to say. Speaking of Nora, we get to go to Stag Industries to stop Godspeed, to take some chemicals away. And this is the scene that I was talking about that we knew that was filmed, which was in the Stag Industries. It was filmed in a car park, but they basically made it into a storage sort of space thing. But Godspeed actually does kill Leah. We do see Nora try to take on Godspeed, but Godspeed's like, is this serious? I'm just going to take you down easily. Why even trying? And Leah is not even stabbed in the heart. She's just stabbed in the gut, in the stomach, which, I don't know, would you rather be stabbed in the heart? I guess it'd be a quicker death in the heart. You'd feel all that stuff in the guts. So, I don't know. Heart or guts? Let me know in the comments. Which one are you preferring to be, evil speedster phased hand through? I don't know. I'm undecided. Probably the heart. Quick death. Anyway. But I must say, old lady Iris, looking like Storm, is she off to Wakanda or something? That grey hair was really weird. I think the Dinah wig in Arrow in the future, it has the same issue where it's just really odd. Make it all grey or just don't do grey at all. It's little wisps of grey hair. If that was happening to Iris, wouldn't she just dye the rest of those little bits of grey hair? I don't know. It just seemed weird to me. The wig looked really weird. I think all they did to really make her look older, they had bags under her eyes or something like that. I think that's all they really did. It was, but as I said, it was I think she's in one scene. So then there's no point doing too much makeup on Iris if she's just going to be there for one scene. But yeah, basically what happened there is basically what Nora's been telling us the whole time. It was interesting that Iris said everyone knows. Who's everyone? Just Team Flash? So Caitlin, Cisco, Ralph, or Joe, Cecile. Is that everyone? Or is everyone on planet Earth know that Nora's meant to be a speedster and, now has the chip. So I was sort of disappointed we didn't see future versions of the other characters. I thought once maybe she learned Barry was the Flash, that she might have gone to people that were working at Star Labs, but I guess she didn't trust anyone because of what happened with her mother. So it would have been cool to see an older version of Cisco, or even an older version of Ralph would have been interesting, or even Joe or Cecile would have been cool, but we didn't get that, unfortunately. But I guess a lot happened in this episode, so you can't get everything, I guess. But we do see that Godspeed is actually revealed as his comic book counterpart, August Hart, and his powers, we're wondering, okay, where's White Lightning come from? He's essentially a more overpowered Zoom. He gets his powers from Velocity 9, but it's just an over-the-top version. That's why he's whitening. His lightning is white, and it does flicker blue at a stage in the episode, which gets Nora investigating and finds out it's all connected to Velocity 9. So I wasn't expecting Velocity 9 to come back into it, but it did. Now, there were Ryan Choi and Tracy Brand shout-outs towards the end of the episode. I think it was like Ryan Choi Enterprises, and then one of the buildings was called the Tracy Brand building, so there we go. But we do see Nora take on Godspeed again, but with actually the help of earbud. So it's just, I guess, similar to Barry back in the early stages, having earbud in your ear. And we do see Nora manage to defeat Godspeed, or at least, dampen the Velocity 9, if you want to call it, by using the satellites of the Central City Citizen Media Building. So the satellites, like radio waves and stuff, are able to dampen it. And I thought Nora was going to catch Godspeed, but just lets him fall into the sign. But he doesn't die. Godspeed is alive. He's in Central City Police custody. So he could go back in the future, but he doesn't have his powers anymore. So I don't know what's going to happen there. So I don't know, question mark on Godspeed coming back in the future, but I wouldn't expect it. But we do see Earbud basically eating his last meal when Nora goes to see him again. He's eating like Big Belly Burger, typical. And he says, he hints to the fact that he's going to be, his time is coming to an end and stuff like that. And then we go to the timer at the end of the episode when he speaks to Barry, which we'll talk about in a second. And it's actually just ticked under 10 minutes. So it's the last actually at that stage, it was over an hour, I think, when Nora went back to him that initial time. I think it was an hour, and I was looking from a distance, it didn't show it close up. I think it was an hour and maybe 15 minutes or something like that. So he's getting close to, I guess, being executed, whether it be given a metahuman cure or just flat out being executed. And that's why that guard was just basically torturing him, saying, well, you did a lot of crap, so I'm just going to give you as much torture as I can give you for your last, hour and a bit on Earth. But we do get to see how Nora basically gets everything that leads her back to present day. So we see her going to the time vault, getting the reverse flash ring from the Flash Museum, going to the time vault in the Flash Museum, getting the flash ring that she brings back to present day, which has Barry's current suit in it. It must be said that I think the box said version 16 that she picked up, and there was a version 19. So there is more versions of the flash suit after the one that Nora picks up. But then we actually see her talk to Gideon, and she gets a video message from Barry, and it's actually him in the middle of crisis. We see the red skies in the background. There's just a lot of crap going on in the background. I think he's wearing the current suit that we have now, but I might be wrong. You only saw his head, but it sort of looked like it. But he basically just explains everything, and I think she would have only got that message if she was a speedster and would have found all the stuff. But I guess the understanding, I don't know if Barry said it, I'm trying to remember off the top of my head, but I think the understanding is that Barry didn't think, I don't know, it was hard to, was Barry in agreement or in agreement with the dampening chip happening? I'm not too sure if that was ever said. If it was, let me know, because I might have skipped it, and I don't want to criticize the show if they did or didn't do it. But if Barry was happy for her to be a speedster and stuff like that, then I guess it's a bad look on Iris. But then again, Barry was disappeared and stuff like that, so it's just one of those here or there situations. I guess no one's right, no one's wrong. But basically, everyone's sweet with Nora at the end of the episode, but Barry's no, I told you, you found out that what Earbud did to me, what he did to us, but you still went back to him multiple times. So he just doesn't trust Nora, and he sends her back home. He goes to 2049, sends her back there, and I was oh, okay, that's interesting, because everyone's just left the room, and that's why Barry's yo, get out of the room, please. I need to talk to Nora. I think Barry went into that conversation probably knowing he was going to send Nora back to the future. So, interesting ending. But that's not the end of the episode. We do see Barry and Earbud had their little chat, and it was just, once again, a great scene. As I said, that's when you see the 10-minute countdown stuff. And Barry just look, you lost now. You're gone. You're going to die soon. And Barry just goes off. So, Barry took the W there for a bit. Earbud took a bit of an L, but we'll see what happens later on in the season to see who actually takes the L and who takes the win. So it'll be interesting. But overall, for me, really good episode. I think, as I said, going to the episode, I wasn't expecting Godspeed to be this massive thing. I'd heard, I think Danielle Panabaker hinted that Godspeed was basically just going to be in this episode and just be sort of an intro thing for Nora. But I thought when the lightning wasn't on him, his suit looked really cool. The lightning sort of ruined the suit a bit, unfortunately, just because it was white and it's just a weird CGI effect. But I thought Nora's origin stuff was good. That's the best Nora we've had on the show because you actually got to interact with a character like herself, that Leah character. The chemistry was good there, and I thought that was actually the best Nora we've had on the show. And just everything that led up in this episode to the end, with Barry doing everything he did and the certain reveals and stuff, I thought was great. It's probably my favorite episode of the season. I'm going to be honest. I don't think there was anything in this episode which got me angry. I know there was people complaining about Iris. I think in regards to consistency, I think if this is a one-off with Iris, maybe a bit of an issue, but she's been consistent with this, like, being on, like, the benefit of the doubt side with Nora this season. So it's consistent, so you can't really complain about it, because if you didn't complain about it then, why are you complaining about it now? So there's nothing really too much to complain about, unless you wanted Godspeed to be, like, set up as next season's villain, then yeah, but I don't know why you're expecting that. But yeah, that's my thoughts on the episode. If you enjoyed the video and you enjoyed the episode, be sure to drop a like on it, guys. Let me know your various opinions in the comment section down below. What was your favorite moment? What didn't you like? Let me know all of that down there in the comments. And of course, if you are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe. I'll catch you later, guys. Goodbye.